Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John, this has been your true nerd, and welcome back to Imperator Rome, where last time we began our brand new adventure, and I'm gonna be honest, it didn't go as I was planning, but that in itself was precisely what I was planning. That's pretty much why I decided to start in the middle of Greece, because this place is just a madhouse, where city-states are constantly linking together, and then breaking apart, then going to war, then allying, and then everything shifts around so quickly, which is a very accurate representation of large parts of Greek history in this era. So that's very, very good indeed. In short, my plan was to stay as far away from Macedon and Phrygia as I possibly could. Instead, I found myself getting closer and closer to Macedon, because they appear to want to be friends. They've agreed to guarantee me, so now I need to make a choice. Either I can take the safe option and just pick off individual city-states around me, or I can start moving towards Macedon and attack Patrai to the north, a more dangerous enemy who are already at war with Macedon. Screw it, I'm going to take the more dangerous option. Right now, I am too weak to defend myself if any major power shows up. If Rome or Phrygia invade, there's nothing I can do. For now at least, I'm siding with Macedon. We're going into Patrai. You know what, I should actually get a few more troops out. Yeah, you know what, more troops. Let's just get some more troops out there. The economy could support one more heavy infantry and one more set of archers too. Yeah, do it. There we go, though watch out for the manpower. If you need to train troops, it gets drained out of manpower, and reinforcements come from there too. I'm getting low. I'm getting very, very low indeed. Oh, and here we go. The Olympics. Since the glorious days of mighty Heracles, the young men of Greece have, every 4 years, competed in the Olympic Games in order to win fame and fortune for themselves and the glory of their nation. Now, that's kind of true, actually. The origin of the Olympics is a bit weird and confusing. There's like 4 different myths. Sometimes it involves Zeus as a baby being entertained by some people. Sometimes it involves Heracles. There's lots of different myths. This game's gone for the Heracles thing. And held in Olympia, the games are an opportunity for all of Greece to lay down arms, embrace and pay homage to their forefathers. And though it actually says lay down arms, actually there's no compulsory truce for anyone who takes part. Everyone just keeps going to war anyway. Probably it would have been too disruptive every 4 years for every war to just be stopped across Greece. It probably would have made playing as a Greek faction like really difficult to do, so that just doesn't happen. But I can actually just decide I don't want there to be games, which would lead to all the Hellenic cultural people disliking me. But no, screw it. If I just hold the games, they'll like me more. So we're 100% gonna do that. Now, one last thing as well. I've got myself plenty of archers and plenty of heavy infantry. Let's just make sure my tactics are set correctly. There we go. As I suspected, bottleneck. Much more effective right there. So now I've got a good army on the go here. We've got ourselves a skilled general with bonus discipline. We've got ourselves a decent-sized army. We've got the tactics set up correctly. I think if it comes down to it, we can take on these guys. But one thing to keep in mind. Terrain. Aha. Now this works for me. Look around here. All of that is hills. In short, if I invade this territory and then just wait for them to retaliate and come to me, I will have the advantage in any fight, as long as I am the defender. But if I'm sieging down territory, they come and attack me, they will be the defender. You can't be the defender of a territory with a fort unless you already control it. So, okay, this might be a bit dangerous, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. How many forts are actually around here, by the way? Oh, they're everywhere. Right, just look at all the forts. Every single one of those yellow territories has a fort in it. Right. Greece, full of forts. That's going to be slow going, I see. And Messenia is asking for military access. Yeah, you guys can have that, no problem at all. Alright, the Senate's not sure here, but we're doing it. We're going to flip and do it. We're going to take Achaia. Unfortunately, yes, Sparta's not involved, but honestly, they're busy for the time being, so we don't need them. We're going in. That's going to get tyranny up by another 5, and the last 5 has barely come down yet, but we're just going to have to make it happen. Right, into Patrai we go. We are going to war. Now, are those guys planning to retaliate in any way? Doesn't look like it yet. They're too busy trying to take down Argos, a city that's allied to Macedonia. So, we can just move in over here, and now begin work on this. But, technically, we are suffering a tiny bit of attrition right now. It's going to take a little bit of time to take care of this. And hello, who's that? That is Defensive League with these little guys over here. Honestly, I don't really need a Defensive League with you. I think you're actually very diplomatically isolated right now. Yeah, you guys are in a lot of trouble. So we just need to siege down Patrai and then move straight onto this territory. I don't know where the troops of Patrai actually are, according to the diplomatic screen here, they do have 8 cohorts. I've just no idea where they've got themselves to. Is it... Ah, there they are. That's actually 16 cohorts right there. 8 of Aegeon, 8 of Patri. Both of them damaged and slowly taking attrition. Now, I'm taking attrition too, but I do have the manpower over here. And the Olympics are done, and the ultimate victor was someone of Phrygia. Very well. Apparently, you were the ultimate victor. Congratulations. Culture of Hellenistic Group of Sicily. So you're from somewhere over there. Congratulations on your victory. Now, we do have a problem in the siege, which is this place has actually upgraded its fort. I need at least 10,000 men here just to continue the siege because of that upgraded fort level. But that means I'm taking casualties all the time. My manpower is being drained. And this siege is... well, it's going to go on for a little while. So, hopefully, this is all going to work out in the long run. And, hello, who are you? That is... Ah, Messenia. Messenia is finally going to be able to get over here and help out the Spartan situation. Let's hang on. Who are you about to attack? Are you attacking anyone? There's going to be a battle between Messenia and Aegeon. Are you sure there is? Because they don't seem interested in attacking you at all. Ah, but we've got good news down here. Messenia has finally managed to make it down over to Troezen to help out the Spartans. So as soon as this place goes down, then that war's going to be over. And if we're very lucky, Sparta might be willing to maybe come and help me. I might be able to call them to arms. Now, we do have some Macedonian troops nearby. Not actually on top of me right now. Hopefully they will come and help out if the Navy lets them over there. In fact, actually, hang on. There are Macedonian troops just standing right here. Now, this is interesting. Why are Macedonian troops able to be right there? Oh, some of Phrygia's allies have actually given military access to the Macedonians, potentially opening up a land route for them. That is very concerning, actually. Luckily, Boeotia hasn't, but these guys have. Potentially, if Macedonia just sends their fleet around there, that is a very good shortcut down to southern Greece. Oh, and speaking of Boeotia... right, they want to offer us an alliance. That's a difficult one. Right, Boeotia right now is allied with Aetolia over there. If I were to accept that offer, that very likely brings me into direct conflict with Macedonia sooner or later. I don't like that. I don't like that one little bit. And these guys have also got a casus belli against Thebes. Thebes is allied with Aegeon and close by to Thrace as well. I'm a little bit concerned about that. Guaranteed by Phrygia. Has a truce with Acarnania over there. One of the allies, I believe, of Epirus to the north. I'm not sure. I think that's true. Right. I think that's too dangerous. I don't want to get involved in any of the major wars over here. Boeotia's just in a dangerous position directly between Macedonia and Phrygian land. I'm going to say no. I don't think that would be a wise idea at all. We are now losing money, but it's only a tiny amount. This war is going to be slow going. It's just, yeah, a siege, another siege. It's going to potentially take years to do this. And oh, hello. Right. They're on the way back. That's a concern. Are you guys coming over here to potentially murder us up to 13,000? Still no heavy infantry, though. I've got the heavy infantry. They don't. Where are they off to? They're off to Megara. Why are they going to... oh, hang on. They might be going after Athens. They might be going straight after Athens because Athens also works for Macedonia. Wait, hang on. No, they don't. Athens works for Phrygia. Where are you guys going precisely? Okay, the siege of Patri is won. But I'm a little bit concerned that, yeah, there's more forts around here. The forts might start passing benefits on to each other. So we need to move straight on to Aegeon over here. Straight on to the next. I'm taking casualties and sooner or later I'm going to run out of manpower. This could be a problem. Right. Touched by Hermes, Olympia has seen a huge influx of traders and travellers from far and wide recently. One of our advisors jokingly suggests we must have been blessed by Hermes himself. It might have been a joke, but paying our dues to the god might be a good idea. So, we'll be inspired and get ourselves 18 gold, together with local tax up by 20% in Olympia. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Or, we lose money, gain religious power, and also gain national tax up by 5%. Omen duration up, and commerce influence up anyway. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that because that's going to pay for itself. That's 100% going to pay for itself. That's good. Speaking of which, how long until it's time for the next omen? Pretty close by, actually. Let's leave that be. So, crack on with the war, please. You head over here. Begin the siege of Aigeon. In fact, actually, speaking of Aigeon, this actual city, how tough is this? Okay, that's not so bad. That's only actually a level 1 fort. So only 5,000 people are needed for that. We might want to split off 5,000 of our army. And hello! Right, you guys have decided to come this way, have you? Wait. We own this place right now. If they're going to try and do this... Oh, hang on. Let's try and intercept them. For some reason, Aigeon's gone the long way round to get to us. And that's because... Ah, hang on. They actually gave up on that war, did you? Did you actually end up going to peace for that? And Macedon wants a defensive alliance. We can do without that. We don't need that, thank you. Right. Let's just actually check on the diplomatic status here. Yes, they made peace with Macedon because they're too busy working against me for the time being. But this is my territory right now. I own this. Okay? So I just need to get over here, intercept them as they actually come over the water, and then basically just kick their asses. This is going to be an easy fight, because I own this place. So therefore, I get defender's advantage. So getting over here, kick their ass as soon as possible. When are we moving in? There we go. Look at that. That's absolutely beautiful. They are being destroyed. I have got huge amounts of archers. Job done. So we've kicked their ass. Now we just move straight over here. We're going to kick their ass a second time, and then we're going to start sieging down their territory. And presumably they'll be pushed back over here. In fact, actually, I'm not sure where they just went. We just won that battle and they disappeared. We might have just completely wiped that stack. And even better, Halicarnassus has just sent us some money. I've no idea why they did that. They just felt like doing it. And in comes Macedon. Macedon, why are you sending 12,000 troops this way? I'm worried about that. Ah, hang on. That's why they wanted military access from both me and those guys to the north of me. It's because there's a strait here. They're allowed to just walk across this. Right. I've basically... Oh, no. I've basically just given military access to Macedonia to access the entirety of southern Greece. That's really bad, actually. That basically lets them just come down here and kick ass and take names. And that's no good at all. In fact, is there any chance I can actually just claim this war now without bothering to siege down this place? So... I can demand this place comes to me, but no, I'll need to actually take the capital before we can do that. So, carry on then. We'll siege the place down. I was hoping we could take some more, because I thought they were about to take Corinth and Argos. But that siege actually failed in the end, probably because Macedonian reinforcements made it over the 17,000 Macedonians here right now. This is my fault. I'm the one that let them in. I don't know what they're planning to do next, but... Oh dear, this is bad. This is actually really bad. I didn't want the Macedonians in this part of Greece, and now there's loads of them. Ah, I think they're coming over here to actually deal with some of these little guys who are trying to take Argos right now. Who's at war with Argos? It's Mantinea. Okay, so a relatively tiny force, who I assume did it because they thought Macedonia couldn't get to them. Macedonia can now get to them, you poor bastards. And my manpower's almost totally exhausted. This is very bad news. This is not good at all. Still, the siege is going well. We're slowly wearing them down. Sooner or later, we will win. Now it's just purely a matter of luck. If I happen to roll a 14, I'd win immediately. So, matter of time. Ah, but in the meantime, an epic writer has just shown up, promising to write a grand tale for the ages, including Ellis. Okay then. I've seen this event before, and I've never seen it end well. It always seems to end badly. But, I do have a bit of money right now. I'm going to say yes. Alright? I'm going to give you a bit of money. We'll see how he actually does. He might be a total con man. And there we go. The siege of Aigeon is won, meaning I can help myself to both of these cities immediately. So, I will be having both of those territories, together with literally all of the money you've got. That's 62. And there we go. Now, on this occasion, I think we've got plenty of people in our empire. You don't want to keep inviting people, because if you have too many families and not enough jobs for them, they just end up being scorned. Loyalty becomes a problem. So, on this occasion, they're going to be put to death. We're just going to get rid of both of them. Lovely. So, we've managed to actually get ourselves peace right there. And now, as a result of that, we actually hold all of this territory around here. So, what have I just actually won for myself? That is fish, boosting local population growth, and on top of that, Ah, yes, the cloth. Very, very nice indeed. So the local tax rate here is plus 10%, and while this place is a little bit unhappy, it shouldn't be too unhappy, because in terms of religion and culture, they're basically identical. Still, get the army home, we just need to chill out for a bit, because our manpower is not looking good. In fact, actually, as we've got plenty of oratory and we do not want to go to war right now, this is a good time to get the national ideas sorted out. In short, I can get these bonuses over here, including one more of every currency every month, and a reduction in wages, and national citizen happiness up, if I just actually have all these ideas matching what they're supposed to. So a civic idea, my options are build cost down, or commerce income up, or slave output up. Okay, what's most of my money coming from right now? We've got ourselves, yeah, that's not a huge amount of tax. Most of that's just base that would not be affected by slave output. Commerce is looking like it's not huge at the minute. It's not huge at all, to be honest. I mean, we could get that up fairly quickly. I'm going to go for commerce because that's actually the better long-term bet. So, yeah, so complex tariffs. Let's get commerce income up a little bit. And as for the rest of it, corruption or monthly general loyalty or opinion maximum. It's got to be loyalty. Loyalty is the important one. And I've started, so I'll finish. I've only got two options now. Corruption down or opinion maximum up. I'll take corruption down. And there we go. The ideas now match. Happiness up by a whole 15%. Wages are going to go down. So yeah, that's going to improve the economy. And a whole bunch of bonus currency right there. So, what's the state of the world right now? Into the diplomacy map mode, please. So I'm being guaranteed by Macedon. I'm still allied with Sparta. That's all fine. Down to the south, however, yeah, so Messenia, they're also allied with Sparta, but not with me directly. The situation up north with Macedonia, meanwhile, they're just guaranteeing everyone they can to try and stop Phrygia expanding. Gotcha. And Sparta has actually joined a defensive league with a bunch of territories over here. Okay, I didn't see that one coming. Why have you done that precisely? Ah, it's just one nation. It's Aetolia. Okay, so Sparta has potentially put itself into a bit of a dangerous position with Macedonia there. Though admittedly, Macedonia don't seem to have really done much so far. They've been very peaceful, so far at least. Only really playing defensively as far as they need to. Also, I'm sitting on a lot of religious power right now. I'm actually going to take this opportunity to sacrifice to the gods, getting my stability up, because that is more tax, more research points, more popularity gain. Very, very good indeed. And I'll hold off taking technology, because we're actually getting very close indeed to the next set of techs coming in. So, yeah, those being done in 4, 5, 6 is not so bad at all. We have a decent level of research efficiency right now. So I think we've actually got, yeah, favourable ratio of citizens. Oh, yeah, really favourable ratio. The territories I control just happen to be very citizen heavy. So we've got plenty of science coming in right now. And one final note as well, an election is coming in just a few months. Okay, so right now it's going to be, oh, blimey. Yeah, okay. I see. I see. So I moved the Tesmotete over towards the Merchant Faction, and the Merchant Faction are now absolutely dominating. So they've decided to vote for themselves. So yeah, that's been a big change right there, I see. Well, I'll tell you what, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to have the Merchant Faction coming into power right now. They're generally a good faction during peace. Diplomatic reputation up, so people are more likely to accept propositions from me, and national commerce income up 10%. Which isn't huge right now, but it could be in future. And there we go. This guy has now voted himself into being leader effectively. So, let's have a little look, see who our new leader is going to be for the next 5 years. And the answer is, not very good, to be honest. Zeal's not spectacular. Charisma's okay. Martial and civic, both below average. So, this guy's not great. He's not great at all, to be honest. But at least he is providing oratory, because oratory is very important indeed. I'd argue it's the most valuable currency of all. It's used for a lot of stuff. But that does mean he can no longer function in his original role as Chief Magistrate with a massive influence over the Senate. That just seems massively corrupt, actually. Yeah, I gave a faction leader a job where he got to influence the Senate twice over. That was probably horrendously corrupt of me. And I'm seeing another problem here. Right now, the next candidate is the Populist Faction. Now, we don't really want him to get in, so how about we give the Civic faction a bit of a hand? Because the Civic Faction are, yeah, not doing so badly at all. So I'm actually going to make the Civic Faction leader the Tesmotete on this occasion, because as a result of that, they should be able to pretty quickly start swinging the Senate in their favour. With, yeah, plus 0.8 of his high charisma, and another plus 0.8 of that job I've just given this guy. And there we go, the seats have already started shifting, up to 18 seats right there. Right now it's still the Populist, but who are you guys voting for? Apparently the civic vote is massively divided right now. They don't have a candidate in the race. Ah, hang on. Do you guys not have a candidate in the race? Because this guy was actually the previous leader. So he can't be leader again. So these guys might not be sure who to vote for. The vote might be massively divided because they can't all rally around their own faction leader. In which case, let's change the jobs round again. I'm going to move it over to one of the Taurus kid lot because this guy is part of the military faction. It's not going to be a huge amount because, yeah, this guy's kind of useless anyway. But it should be enough to get the ball moving roughly in the direction of the militarists. And who could have predicted it? The guy writing the epic about Ellis has managed to run into monetary problems. I will actually give him all the money he wants. Let's just maximise the chance something good's going to happen. But, more importantly, we have got up to the first level of civic advancers. That is good stuff right there. There's religious advancers. All the advancers just came in. Excellent. So we're getting all sorts of benefits right there. Morale for armies. Maintenance cost up a little bit too. Military tradition costs down, so we can get a military tradition sooner rather than later. And a whole bunch of exciting new techs come in. But I've got my eye on one in particular. Logistics Bureau. More capital import routes. I'm going to be having that immediately. And on top of that, I want to actually change my governor policy in this territory from borderlands to encouraging trade. Get that income up, please. And now we've got 3 trade routes. In fact, actually, do you actually have any other traits I should be aware of as a governor? So, governor loyalty goes up because you're intelligent. That's good. Commerce income down 10%. Right, unnoticeable. Less good. Wrong culture group, happiness plus 10%. I think we're all Hellenic, so that doesn't really have an effect on me. Right, nothing major going on with him. But yeah, commerce income down is unfortunate. Though, let's fill up those trade routes right now. Bearing in mind, I do have both wine and iron and could create a surplus of either of them. There's no iron available. No wine available either, unfortunately. That's a bit of a shame, because yeah, that surplus is army maintenance down 5%, which would not be bad at all. I tell you what, I'm going to bring in vegetables. Supply limit plus 10%. That's not bad at all, because I was really knackered by that attrition in the last war against Patri. So let's start bringing that in, please. And there's no point bringing in wood, because I don't actually have any harbours in Laconia, so I still won't be able to train any boats. Let's just bring in some grain for the time being. We can bring that in from Thrace, apparently. Marvellous. So just boosting the local growth rate. But that should sort out the... Ooh... Maybe it won't. This guy is not very good as a leader, because despite being the merchant faction leader, he's actually not very good as a merchant, so I'm not 100% sure how he got the job. But in either case, we might need to sort out the budget issues here. Ah, part of it's a fort, because Patri came with a fort that was already built here. But I don't want to get rid of that, because this fort is right on the strait. Having a fort defending the strait, good idea in case I run into trouble with any of these guys up north. And I just noticed, someone's been kicking Macedonia's ass. They've got troops actually retreating right now. Weirdly, they're at war with nobody but Mantineas. So I'm not actually sure who just actually beat up these troops, because Mantineas, yeah, like way down over here. Alright, mysterious things are happening here. Oh, I really hope I've backed the right horse here, because I've actually put a fair bit of work into preserving Macedon's position down here in southern Greece, and now somebody is kicking their ass. Okay, this is probably a good time to just check in on how everyone else is doing. Because, of course, if Macedon's not doing spectacularly right now, then hopefully no one else is either. So as for Phrygia, no major move there whatsoever. They seem to be pretty much as they are at the beginning of the game. In fact, you guys even at war with anyone right now? No, doesn't look like it. Phrygia have had a fairly peaceful game so far. And as for the West, oh, now this is interesting. This is very interesting indeed. So Etruria is totally being invaded by Rome right now, but it's not just Rome. Oh, Etruria, I'm so sorry. You are not having a good game. Right, most of these guys are probably subjects of Carthage, because Carthage is totally getting in here too. They've already occupied all of this territory up here, and Carthage, if they can actually take this territory, they're going to have a foothold on the Italian mainland. Alright then, in real history, Carthage and Rome first came to blows over Sicily, but in this universe, no. It might actually be over a tiny Carthaginian holding in northern Italy. Okay, so we've had a couple of wars, time to look in on the domestic policies. Politics, economy, all of that good stuff. Because right now, I've got such a large army, I'm actually floating a little bit of a deficit. So, let's go over to the economy screen, see if I can sort that out. So I'd rather not actually reduce my expenditure on the army because, yeah, if I put them down to reduced pay, that's 80% reduced morale. It'll take months to recover if I need them back in a hurry. Bad idea in general. But I might be able to make some more money off income. If I put up taxes, that hits my research points. Probably a bad idea, but commerce is the more interesting one. So if I lower that, I only lose 0.13 gold a month. Very, very little indeed, but it opens up a new trade route. My fourth trade route, in fact, but looks like no one's actually got anything to trade with me right now because my diplomatic range isn't huge at the minute, and at this point in the game, plenty of small nations aren't going to have that many slaves, and as a result of that, they're not going to have that much in the way of surplus, so that doesn't help me right now, but it might be something I want to do in future. However, if I just actually up the amount of commerce tax, then yeah, 15% increase in commerce, not bad at all, and that just increases the number of slaves needed for a surplus, from the base of 15 up to 17. But here's the thing, I've got nowhere near 15 slaves anyway, so it makes no difference to me whatsoever. In fact, I don't even have 15 slaves in the entire empire, so I kind of may as well just up the commerce tax rate. But once I start gathering some more slaves, remember I've done that because I'm going to want to change that later. Character wages, however, is a very big one, because if I pay my characters more, that actually increases their loyalty, but actually that's more expensive than I was expecting it to be. That's really expensive, actually. Right, and I don't want to be giving them low wages, because you don't want everyone to be losing 0.5 loyalty a month. That's a huge amount of loyalty loss. Right, I can't afford to do that right now, but I think we're okay for loyalty, because if there's low loyalty characters, the outliner will flag them. So we should be okay for now. Even my general, he's actually, 100 loyalty and it's not falling. And that's mostly because, most of these troops are not loyal to him, because he's not very charismatic, so the chance of troop loyalty conversion is extremely low. Meanwhile, over to politics. So this guy, we sort of accepted him becoming the Archon without really throwing anything in his way. Even though he's not necessarily the best guy for the job, he's reasonable, but that commerce income minus 10%, that is going to hurt us a little bit. But let's actually start paying a bit more attention to that. So right now in 5 years, we're going to be getting, a member of the Populist Faction coming in. Now that's a bit of a problem, because that's just going to make the power cost 10% more expensive. In a perfect world, I'd rather that didn't happen. But if he's a good guy in general, no. No, he is not, right. But despite his incompetence in terms of primary attributes, he is prominent. Commerce income would go up 10%, which is not bad. Siege ability is 10% if he's a commander, but I probably wouldn't want him to be a commander because he's only got skill of 2. There's not much good stuff here. I guess you could assassinate people for cheaper, but I'm not convinced this guy should be ruler. In which case, let's just consider the alternatives, because right now, the only people voting for him are his own party, and the only reason he's getting in is because all the other votes are divided. Though actually, the military faction is not divided, they just don't have enough seats. So if I could boost up the military faction, this guy would likely be the next leader. He's also terrible. Oh dear. We've got a bad selection of faction leaders here, but what can you do, eh? And I can't just have the head of the civic faction or the head of the merchant faction in a second time, because after you've been leader, you're then on a cooldown for 10 years. 5-year term limit, followed by 10 years until you can be elected again. And the religious leader is no better either. Right, so they're all terrible. But on balance, I'd probably still rather have the terrible military leader, because at least he actually gets morale of armies plus 10% just for being the leader. So in which case, the Tesmo Terte is already of the military faction. Hopefully that means given a bit of time, we'll have more than 15 seats in military. There's the problem with the economy. Right now I don't have an omen active, because I spent my religious power sacrificing a pig to get stability up to 2, which is a good thing, but it means right now I don't have the religious power to get an omen up. Once we do have that religious power, we can get, Blessing of Hades or Blessing of Hermes in, then the economy will be in much better shape. In the interim, however, let's just actually split out a couple of units, just so we're not losing too much money. One set of archers, one set of heavy infantry, neither of them are loyal, so there's no problem with breaking them apart. So split them into the second Stratos, and then immediately break them down. We'll still be losing a tiny bit of money, but I don't dare break any more down because I've got basically no manpower right now. So as a result of that, until that's built up again, I can't retrain those troops. So I'd rather run a tiny deficit while I just wait for my religious power to come back. There is, however, one more important thing I can do, and this is actually one of the reasons I wanted to play as Ellis, because Ellis has some of the most interesting selection of decisions to make in the entire game. So decisions, which live in their own little tab up here, are basically things you can do to your empire to make fundamental changes to how your economy is organised. Some nations have very few of these. Ellis has absolutely loads. And we already actually meet the criteria for one decision. Possibly the easiest decision in the entire game. I haven't actually gone around checking all of them, but this is a very simple one indeed. Forming a Kia. Literally all you need to do to form a Kia is own the two territories, Patrai and Aegion. That's literally it. At that point you can just create a Kia. And this is actually a very good thing to do, because when you enact a decision, it gives you a nationwide bonus that lasts the entire game. So as a result of that, suddenly I get increase to my population growth, my civilization level goes up, my freeman happiness goes up, and I just gain 100 civic power, which is basically a free invention. So there's very little reason not to do this. Admittedly, the downside is it means we will technically no longer be Ellis. Instead, we will become Achaea. Ellis will remain our capital, we just won't be called that anymore. But I'm actually happy to do this because Achaea actually gets itself a much nicer colour. So you know what? We're going to do that right now. Ellis has wisely enacted form Achaea, so the minor state of Achaea was a thorn in the side of Roman expansion during the 2nd century BC, having formed a powerful league of city-states, conquering Sparta and punching well above its weight. Yes, indeed. We haven't done that yet, but screw it, maybe we'll do that in the future. Now we're a lovely red. Isn't that a nicer colour? I think that's a much nicer colour. And by the way, that's not going to be the only name change we have during this game. Ellis has plenty of opportunities to actually change its name, so say hello to our lovely new hot red empire, Achaea. Now, you're probably wondering, why is it that two little nations up north in the southern tip of Greece can actually form their own little mini-empire of Achaea? What's so special about those guys? Well, I'm glad you asked, voice in my head. Sit down, it's time for a history lesson. So once upon a time in the 5th century BC, a century or two before the events of this game, there were two big powers in this part of the world. There was Sparta, and there was Athens. And they would be at war. Quite a lot. Occasionally they'd work together, but more often than that, they hated each other and went to war. And that was kind of bad news for all these other city-states that weren't Athens or Sparta, because they kind of got pulled into it. Ellis, for example, was regularly working on the Spartan side in that war. In fact, just as a bit of a historical side note, they deserve a bit of an extra award for stupidity, which is, at one point during the Peloponnesian War, they decided, hang on, let's not actually join up with Sparta this time, let's join up with Athens for the first time ever. Athens immediately went on to lose the war, and Sparta were not happy with Ellis as a result of that. But the real point is, lots of these other city-states were not desperately happy about the fact that Athens and Sparta were a bit too on the powerful side. And Sparta in particular, as you can see represented in this game, holds a fair bit more land than the rest of these other city-states do. So everyone was a little bit worried about Sparta, which meant various city-states came up with plans. One of those plans was all these city-states around here decided to join together to oppose Sparta, which worked a bit, but admittedly they also started fighting each other on occasion. But at one point, the bloc that was created to oppose Sparta itself got a bit too powerful, so as a result of that, these nations up here decided to join together to try and oppose them. Yeah, this is just how Greek history goes in this era. It's a lot of city-states occasionally joining together to oppose each other. And those city-states up north were known as Achaea. A power which, as we read, would also go on to be somewhat influential in the future from this point in real history, doing a fairly decent job causing trouble for the Romans when they tried to move into Greece. So, I think that's a good name for us to adopt. Hopefully, we can repeat the trick. And with that extra civic power, I could try and increase the amount of money I'm making, but the only option is, national commerce income up 5%, which is reasonable, but my commerce isn't a huge amount of money yet. What I'm more interested in, however, is official orators. Monthly tyranny down 0.01 a month, which sounds very small, but the base is only 0.02. So that's actually a 50% increase, which is very important because a republic will keep running into an awful lot of tyranny just trying to get its day-to-day business past the Senate. So there we go, I'm going to be taking that immediately. Lovely. And now we just let time tick by and keep a close eye on the politics of all the nations around us. In particular, Messenia. I would love to just go and take Messenia, but I can't do it unless Sparta breaks away from them. Hello, who are you? No, I'm not joining your stupid defensive league. If anything, we're going to come and conquer you in a few months. Further downside of the new governor, however, he's got Zeal of 0, meaning it's going to take quite a while for my next omen to come online. And there we go, all those changes to my economy have just brought me back into a surplus. Like Crusader Kings 2, changes that you make aren't always reflected immediately, you need to let time tick over into the next month for changes to be reflected. And here we go, events are starting to pop up pertaining to factions. So a group of senators who align themselves to the military faction have asked Anazippos Tauriskid to represent their interests. Now you're the party leader of the military faction, so that makes sense. Claiming that they're becoming increasingly displeased with the direction our great nation is taking, they've issued an ultimatum. They're demanding we address the lack of marvellous iconography in the senatorial chamber. So either we pay them off with the world's most expensive fresco, or we can ignore their whining. But if I do that, for 2 whole years, the military faction is likely to vote against me. And that's a bit of a problem. So I'm going to pay them off and hopefully cheer them up a little bit. And here we go, Macedon's made its way round to Mantinea. They've kicked those guys' ass because they were trying to take over Argos, which is aligned to Macedon. And now, Macedon's just going to station those troops right there. So, yeah, we now actually have a force of 9,000 Macedonians standing by. If I get attacked, they will come to my assistance, so this is probably a pretty decent insurance policy for me. Oh flip, it's happened. Messenia's broken away from Sparta. Right, they don't have any friends at all right now. Nothing, I could just walk in and take this. And this is part of Laconia. That'd be really valuable because I'd be adding a bunch of goods to my capital. And they're nowhere near ready for a war. And even better, the Senate are actually behind this. Even the merchant faction are behind this one. Right, okay. How much do I need? 180. I need to get up to 180 as fast as possible before these guys make any other friends. Though actually, it kind of doesn't matter. Who are they going to make friends with? All these guys are city-states. You can't ally with a city-state if you're a local power. You can only ally with other local powers. They're not going to be allying with Sparta. They literally just broke away from those guys. Who else do they have? I'm not sure they've got anybody, to be honest. I mean, maybe one of the southern Italian powers, but I'm not sure who they can be friends with. Possibly Acarnania over there? I don't know. I'm not sure they've got anyone to be friends with anymore. Now, I could just straight up buy some oratory, but it's expensive. Screw it, I'm going to do it. Right, just get that up to 87. So now we're getting there a bit faster. That's absolutely fine. Are my troops actually safe to stand where I would like? Yeah, they're safe to stand wherever I want. Begin moving the troops south. They can safely stand in this territory too. Meanwhile, the forces of Mantinea are just marching around over here. Macedon's on the move. Bear in mind, of course, I have given them military access, so they can just walk straight back to their homeland. At this point, yeah, as long as they've still got military access with these guys, which I believe they do. Yeah, granting military access. At this point, yeah, Macedon can just walk in and out of southern Greece at their convenience. And no. I'm not joining a defensive league with you. Quite the opposite, in fact. And there we go. Macedon are now moving in to take Mantinea. So they'll probably be taking that for themselves. And remember that epic we've paid huge amounts of money to an epic writer for? Once again, it's ended up being terrible. Yeah, every time I've done this event, it's actually had a bad outcome. So either I've been extremely unlucky, or this event is just really unlikely to succeed. Now, we do have one small problem here, which I hadn't really counted on. I'd actually rather that Macedon didn't take Mantinea, because I'd like to have that for myself, because Mantinea is actually a city you need for another one of the decisions that Ellis can do. Yeah, I just double-checked there. Forming Arcadia, I need all of these territories. So, in a perfect world, I'd be much happier if there was a white peace between Mantinea and Macedon. But then again, Mantinea has like 9,000 troops, and they'll have defender's advantage if they march into Mantinea while Macedon are there, because you always have defender's advantage if it's a fort that the enemy's trying to siege down. So it's possible they will be able to win and drive the Macedonians back. Now, I can't help but notice there's also some Aetolians sitting just outside my territory. You guys are allied with... Yeah, you guys are actually allied with Macedonia. So you're probably actually coming down over here to help with the Mantinea situation. But I don't think you've actually got the ability to get there, do you? I can give them military access, but as I say, I'd rather not. I'd rather Macedon had some troops in Corinth, but that they don't actually take anything over here, because I'd like it for myself. And I've just hit another 100 civic as well, so heavy infantry discipline plus 10% is very, very tempting indeed, as is supply limit up 10%, and siege ability plus 5%. All of that is good stuff. but I can't say no to research points plus 10%, because we're making decent progress right now. Alright, we're not doing too badly. We're up to level 1 across the board there. Let's just check against our neighbours. Yeah, they're at level 1 too. Sparta's actually still back at level 0, so we're not doing terribly. How's Macedon? They've not actually hit level 1 yet. So, my small nation with plenty of citizens is actually doing okay. We've got a bit of a tech advantage against our larger neighbours. I'd like to keep that rolling, because if I get attacked by a big power, I don't have the numbers, but if I have the tech, at least I've got a chance. And here's an interesting one. Defensive League from Aetolia. Okay, Aetolia. I need to know a little bit about you first. You're actually allied with Macedon, aren't you? Or rather, you're a subject of Macedon. No, you're guaranteed by Macedon. You're actually independent. And also part of a defensive league with Sparta, but I've already got a good thing going on with them. The problem is, do I really want to be in a defensive league with these guys? These guys have, well, they've got Macedon right there who they're being guaranteed by. They've got allies in the form of Boeotia. And they've also got an ally in the form of, they're allied to Acarnania. So, they're fairly safe, all things considered. But I'd probably rather stay away from them for the time being, if only because how many actual slots do I have for diplomatic relations? Okay, I've got plenty of slots, because yeah, as a local power with a neutral stance right now, I am allowed to have up to 3 relationships simultaneously. So a defensive league counts as 1 no matter how many members it has, an alliance counts as 1 by itself. Honestly, I'm happy to say yes to that, because they're right there, but then again, if I actually say yes, does that give them automatic military access? No, I'm going to say no. I feel okay for the time being. If need be, I can go and offer that to them. And unfortunately, Mantinea are once again having their arses handed to them by Macedonia. So, Macedonia are doing well, but if these guys can just keep beating up Macedonia, Macedonia might not be able to take Mantinea, because Mantinea has, Mantinea's got a fort built in it. And as a result of a fort being built, fort level of 2, with less than 10,000 men, Macedonia can't siege down Mantinea. All they've got to do is keep skirmishing, so these guys fall below 10,000 men, and they can't take Mantinea anymore. Also, there's more fighting going on over here, so you, Azania, are attacking Aetolia and... Okay, hang on, what the heck's going on here? Wait, just hang on a second with your temple renovations, I'm busy trying to figure out politics. Oh, this is turning into a mess rapidly. So, Azania, right here, they're at war with Aetolia up north, who probably would like to get involved ideally, together with Stymphalia right here. But Stymphalia are also at war with Mantinea and have a casus belli against Azania. And Mantinea, they're a little bit on the busy side right now, being at war with literally everyone in the world. And for the time being, Heraea and Megalopolis are just basically staying out of this and trying not to get murdered. Right, okay. So Central Greece is a mess right now. And a Gaios Taurus kid in his civic capacity informs us an opportunity has arisen. One of our most valued temples is in dire need of renovation. So with investment, it can become a shining beacon of benevolence. So once again, prestige. Alright, but that's prestige, of course, for this family. And this family is not always going to be leader, so that's not necessarily that valuable to me. In a monarchy, this event's much more valuable, because gaining popularity and gaining prestige is very important for monarchs. For republic leaders, not so much. But then again, actually, we have confirmed this guy's a pretty good leader. He's better than the alternatives. So if I boost his prestige, that makes it more likely in 10 years' time we'll have him as leader again. So, that's interesting. And yeah, Taurus Kid family can also gain some prestige. Who's actually good inside the Taurus Kid family? It's the guy who was our first leader, head of the Taurus Kid family. Yeah, that's actually pretty important. And a very competent researcher as well. Yeah, there's some good people in Taurus Kid. Fine. I'm going to do this just to make it more likely that they'll start showing up as potential leaders in future. Oh, and here we come. Soon as we hit December of this year... There we go, 183 oratory. Get it in straight away. These guys have no allies whatsoever. Fabricate the claim, province of Laconia. I'll be having that, thank you. And that means as soon as we hit January next year, we are going to war. We're just knocking those guys straight out. Also, Epidaurus have decided they want military access. I see no reason why not. Have fun marching through my territory. May as well keep them on side. That'll probably mean they like us a bit more. Right, more importantly, Messenia. Time for me and you to go to war. And, for once, the Senate are 100% behind this. let's go to war. So we're taking Laconia, and Sparta are not coming along because they're actually in a truce, so they're not allowed to. So, begin troops marching in. I believe we are, yeah, we're absolutely fine to march in terms of supply limit. We are not going to start taking attrition. These guys have no heavy infantry whatsoever. They don't stand a chance. And I believe they were actually keeping their troops on low wages, because if you look here, their morale is currently catastrophically low. Sadly, I can't go and actually murder their army because there's a fort here. And I've actually just started taking attrition. Maybe there's special attrition for siege. I'll need to look into that, because I'm not sure why I'm taking attrition when the supply map mode says I should be absolutely fine. On the plus side, yeah, they're starting to train troops in a hurry, but the morale is going to be low. And Macedon and Mantinea are going to war again. And actually, Mantinea have got more troops, but... oh, no, they don't. No, they don't anymore. The Macedonian troops were just divided apart. So we're just going to have to take some very light knocks in terms of attrition while we're just dealing with this. Yeah, I assume special rules apply while you're sieging a place down. And sadly, yeah, my general's not spectacular, but he is at least giving me +1 to my dice rolls. Actually, I'll need to look into this a bit more, because there's plenty of supply around here. I'm seeing the skull, but I'm not actually losing any troops as far as I can tell. Actually, I might be. Look up there in the top left. I am actually losing manpower. I've got a minus next to the manpower there, but it's very slowly if so. And of course, we will be hosting the Olympics, because why wouldn't we? It's basically just free opinion for my empire, so go on. Why not? We'll just keep hosting it. As I was saying in the first part, basically a small amount of soft power for Ellis. A nice thing to have. Now, Azania wants to move through my territory, with a not bad 8,000 troops either, and they are going to war with... they might be going to war with Aetolia. Do I actually want them to do that? You know what? I'm willing to say yes, because you're never going to be able to take out that army. It's guarding the strait. You'll be slaughtered, but I see no reason why I wouldn't say yes. Crack on, you mad bastards. Oh, and even better, I've just unlocked the ability to have a military tradition. So this is what you really spend your military power on, and these are big upgrades right here. So, cohort starting experience plus 10%, and experience decay more slowly, because yeah, when you're not in combat, your units slowly get worse over time, but this is the big one for me, because I do actually have some heavy infantry. The Sarissa, heavy infantry morale, plus 10%. Make them stand and fight longer. Much better. The other one was related to cavalry. Obviously, I don't have any cavalry right now, so not a good thing for me. Now, the nice thing about Messenia is they're actually training troops across 2 cities, but they can't unify, because while they do have a port, I'm the one controlling it. So those 2 armies are separated apart from each other. I can simply take this territory and then immediately go and smash one army, then the other. So this has actually worked out very nicely for me. And the game is implying I can actually call Sparta in. I'm not going to actually call Sparta in. That's absolutely fine. And meanwhile, hello there, what have you got for me? Ah, I see, it's the religious faction. So he's got a broad smile on his face. Oh, that's never a good idea. So, he politely offers us support from the religious faction, but he wants a tithe. Right, okay, surely that will be distributed to the poor, so what an honourable man, I can give him 22, and then for 2 years, they're more likely to back me. Or I can say, no, you're a bastard, but omen cost is up, and he'll lose some loyalty. Alternatively, I can throw giant piles of money at him, they'll agree with pretty much anything I ask for, and on top of that, they'll owe me a favour. But I can't even afford it, and I don't want to go into debt right now, so... we're going to say what an honourable man and accept a slight increase in propensity for them to vote for us. That's fine. Also, yeah, as I expected, Azania had their arse absolutely handed to them. Got it. And now it's just a matter of time until the capital of Messenia falls. And then we can eat this entire empire. 3 new cities in our capital province. Now that's nice. That's exactly what we wanted to see. And who won the Olympics, by the way? Someone from Oxuioia. Now, I don't know where Oxuioia is, but that's a really fun word to say. Ooh, Oxuioia. I hope you keep winning, because that's a magnificent name. But, just for hosting the Olympics, our leader gets 5 popularity. Lovely. And here we go. We actually get ourselves an omen. Now, this is a bit of a difficult one, because while we're making a profit, I'd like to make more of a profit. So, Blessing of Hades, very, very nice indeed. But... manpower is looking dicey. I wouldn't mind national manpower up by 12% as well. But is that really that much? I don't know. Unrest is never bad as we're about to take over some territory. But the territory we're about to take over is both culturally and religiously Hellenic. So that shouldn't be a big deal. Research points is not bad as well. That's always welcome. But I think we need the money. Money right now is very low. I'm just going to take the Blessing of Hades. There we go. Lovely. And Stymphalia also want military access. I'm just going to give everybody military access. That's fine. And yeah, the siege continues. At this point, I could win if I get lucky at any point. They just got a water shortage because we just got a decent enough roll right there. And at this point, it's purely a matter of time. And Macedon's cancelled military access. Okay, that's not the worst thing in the world. We didn't really need that. They are still guaranteeing us. That's the important thing. And yeah, any moment now we'll take the capital. Then we just smash these armies one at a time. Should be absolutely fine. We've actually got an equivalent general to these guys. But my general's also disciplined, which is very, very good indeed. And I've got heavy infantry. They do not. And Aetolia want military access. Do I really want them to have it? I don't want them to have that. I don't want them getting involved with the Mantinea situation. I want that war to end in a white peace. In fact... Oh, hang on. Mantinea are not currently at war with Macedon. They've got a truce. Good. Macedon were not able to siege this place down in the end. They just couldn't keep 10,000 troops alive on the city long enough to actually siege it. Good. This is actually the best case scenario. There are now 12,000 Macedonian troops who might be willing to help me if I get attacked, but they're not taking any of the territory I'd like for myself. And there we go. The siege is won, and the general also picks up some popularity. Good. And that means, with this territory now held, we can just march straight in over here. Now, if I just check the actual... Oh, hello. That is... mountains. So as a result of that, I'm guessing this guy's going to have a bit of a defensive advantage. But we do outnumber him, like 2-1. This might be a bit on the painful side, to be honest. Yeah, our side might lose. Hang on a minute here. Maybe I don't want to do that just yet. Maybe I'd rather bait him forward. I am instead just going to move down over here and attack these guys. That should be nice and easy. Now, in a perfect world, he will actually, yes, he'll move straight back into the capital. Now, that works for me, because I'd rather not fight him in the mountains. So now we can just move over here. We've captured someone. We occupy this place nice and easily. They're training more troops, but I'm a little bit concerned about this, actually, and I can't train reinforcements. I don't have the manpower to do so. Actually, you know what? I've just picked up an invention. I can literally just afford it. Heavy infantry discipline plus 10%. That's not bad, you know. That's not bad at all. Screw it. Take it. There we go. Nice. Right. Just give myself a bit of an edge. So, these two territories now belong to me. But as long as he's actually sitting on this territory, I can't take it. But I could just take these two cities. What would that actually get me? That would get me fish here, which I think would actually give me a fish surplus, wouldn't it? Do I have fish somewhere else? Yes, I have fish up in Patra. But Patra is part of Achaia, so not the same province. But fish is still, yeah, plus to growth rate. Not bad at all. Wine. I think I've actually already got some wine, don't I? Yeah, I've got some wine. That would give me a wine surplus. We've got to check the bar up here. That's much more convenient. This mountainous territory, that's even more olives. So I could export them for an export bonus on top of my capital surplus bonus. That would actually be very useful. Oh, this is a bit of a difficult one, actually. I'd love him to come down off the mountains, but I understand why he's not doing it. Oh, here we go. He's actually doing it. He's coming down off the mountains. Go on. That's right. Come and fight me right here. Come and fight me right here. He's trying to take back his capital. Good. I was a little bit worried, but as we're going to be now fighting him on the actual flat, where we had defensive advantage because we'd already taken this place, he's going to be slaughtered. Okay, I'm really glad he just decided to come down, because otherwise I was a little bit worried about that. Now he's going to fall back over here, because he's got nowhere else to fall back to. So now we can take him, because his morale is shattered. Good. My secondary plan, if he hadn't come down off the mountain, was to actually go over to the economy and boost wages for my army up to maximum. A little bit expensive, but the extra morale could have just given me the edge. So there we go. We've now destroyed that army. That's been completely wiped because it had nowhere to retreat to. So as a result of that, we take this place and we actually get all of Messenia. That is a big increase to my territory right there. And there we go. Job done. 100% occupied. So therefore, suff peace, demand peace. I'll be having literally all of this, thank you. And I'll also have every bit of money you've got in the world. 74 gold. Thank you very, very much indeed. And I think we're actually okay in terms of the number of people in our empire. In fact, we've actually got one scorned family right now. So we don't need anyone extra. I'll just take 5 popularity for murdering their nobility. There we go. Job done. And now we're starting to get somewhere. Now if we zoom right out, you can actually vaguely see my nation from space. Ah, bad news for Carthage though. They were able to secure all this territory up here in Corsica, but they weren't able to get any territory on the Italian mainland. So Rome was able to lock down all of that. Yeah, Rome's starting to get a bit on the scary side, actually. And on top of that, Carthage is running into problems in Sicily. They're actually being squeezed out by these two powers. Alright, bring the army back to the capital. We'll actually head straight back over there. That's a good start. Let's have a look-see at the troops here. So yeah, we're still importing the iron, which is nice. We're importing the vegetables for supply. We're importing the grain just because we can. But now, we've got olives +2. So local slave happiness plus 10% off the first olives, and then another 2% for each of the 2 surplus olives. Plus, it's a surplus in the capital, 5% across the entire empire, so that affects Achaia as well. But if I was to export one of those olives at this point, and I believe Sparta did once ask to have one of them, yeah, I'd get 2.5% across the entire empire, so that would definitely be worth doing, because I'd be sacrificing 2% locally for 2.5 empire-wide. Now actually, hello there. Epidauros, who I gave military access to, they've just marched over here and occupied this bit of land belonging to Aetolia. Now, Aetolia is actually guaranteed by Macedon. Right, well, that's interesting. So all these territories are now attacking the Macedonian vassals, and Macedonia doesn't really seem to be getting involved. Possibly because their armies are a bit low on morale at the minute. And here we go, friends across borders. So right now our Strategos Glaucaeus Leucinid has friends outside our borders. And when you say far outside our borders, Sparta are next door right now. It's not too far from our borders. So he believes that friendship with the Epistrategos of Sparta could be put to use in increasing their opinion of us. So if we just give him some money, Sparta will like us a bit more. Well, okay, how does Sparta feel about us right now? Honestly, Sparta feels pretty good about us, but if I say no, he loses loyalty. So go on then, it's only 11 gold. We'll give him that, and as a result, Sparta now likes us even more. And also, Aetolia's just sent us a bit of free money, so that's good as well. Right, I assume they're really looking for us to join their side. Because, yeah, they're kind of under attack from the various Arcadian powers, Epidauros, all sorts of people. And yeah, the thing about Aetolia is... ooh, hang on. That's why Aetolia wants to have military access. They want to go and take this back. You know what? I think they can have it. And hello, we've just got ourselves... all the advances just finished up. Good. Finishing up advances opens up a bunch of new tech, and on top of that, just gives you some bonuses immediately. So yeah, my armies have slightly higher morale, for example, but they also cost a tiny bit more too. Oh, and speak of the devil, someone wants some olives right now. Plus 0.74 every month. Yeah, we're having that. National slave happiness nationally up 2.5%. Very, very good indeed. So you're welcome to that. And guys... how would you like some military access? I'm going to give you some military access. There you go. Are they going to... yeah, they're going to immediately march into my territory and straight through to reclaiming their island. Because why not, eh? So right now, Aetolia is being guaranteed by Macedon, and they are at war with various nations. But Macedon appears to have actually pieced out of this situation. They did go to war with Mantinea, and then decided they couldn't be bothered, and basically just left Aetolia alone. So possibly Macedon aren't quite as useful as I was expecting. Okay guys, let's not go crazy. I'm not joining a defensive league with you, alright? You're in too many wars right now. You know, if I were to go to war with these guys, this island right here, which is very hard to get to, in fact I've got the only access to it via the strait, they've got stone. Stone increases local fort defense. That's actually pretty good. That's very useful indeed. Oh, and here's something I've just noticed as well. We've actually got ourselves 10 citizens in the former Messenian capital. So, that's a lot of extra research points right there. That's really good. But the big thing I'm worried about right now is not enough freemen. So, Ellis has like 4 slaves right now. I'm going to promote a couple of them immediately, or at least I'm going to promote 1. I'll promote 1 to be a freeman. So that's actually going to hurt my economy slightly, but... we really need to get some manpower back. Manpower is in dire straits right now. I can't even replenish this damaged army. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I'd say that's enough for now. There is most definitely a splash of red on the map right now. A very, very noticeable splash of red. We are starting to make some progress. And next time, it's time for us to start securing our grip on southern Greece. There's a bit of a mess of war on war going on over here, and I suspect we may be able to pick off some of these territories nice and easily. And after that, there are decisions to be made about whether to change who we are once again. Ellis has the opportunity to go through quite a few identities over the course of this game. And sooner or later, of course, we need to take out Sparta itself, because Sparta is sitting on iron. Sparta is sitting on grain. Sparta is sitting on vegetables. Sparta has access to some very powerful goods indeed. Meanwhile, the big players of the world are starting to make their moves. Carthage is expanding. They've taken a bit of Corsica. Rome is bigger than it was. Phrygia, I think, has actually lost a tiny bit of territory there. I think Aeolia is a tiny bit larger than it used to be. Macedon is holding steady for now, as is Thrace. No major movements by the big players in Greece yet, but it's going to happen sooner or later. There's going to be some big wars, and when that happens, we might need to be ready to change sides at a moment's notice. All of that to come very, very soon indeed. But in the meantime, I've been John. This has been Many a True Nerd, and this has been Imperator Rome. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
This guy's enjoying that. This guy's enjoying his elephant a bit too much.
Oh my god.
In fair Verona, we set our scene. Oh my god, Becky, look at her butt. It is so big. They've managed to glitch inside one of the buildings. Elephants in the rear! And then in come the chariots!